So I got a request specifically to review some of these Kegel trainers that are out there these days. Um, so the one that comes to mind for me, the most popular one lately, probably the most high tech too, is called PeriFit. I do not have a PeriFit on me, though. If PeriFit wanted to send me one, I would gladly review it. I like PeriFit because it helps you understand when your pelvic floor is able to both lift and lower. So I'm not surprised when people want to strengthen with Kegel exercises and with particular devices. But as a pelvic floor physical therapist, you'd be surprised. Most of the people, most of the women who I see who are dealing with incontinence, changes to sexual function, things like that, don't actually need to get stronger. They first need to relax. So before I get into even what's in front of me, a quick kind of primer on how the pelvic floor works. So pelvic floor, they're muscles in your pelvis. They move up and down like a trampoline with bowel, bladder, sexual function. We shouldn't have to think about it as long as they're operating the way that they should. When I have any kind of issue, leaking urine, leaking feces, leaking gas, for example, even though my instinct might be to strengthen, I actually want to think about my pelvic floor a little bit more like a biceps muscle. So you can appreciate if you put a heavy weight in my hand and I extended my arm all the way, it would be hard for me to contract against that weight because the muscle fibers are really far apart. It's hard for them to get purchase on one another. That's like 2% of the women who I treat come in out the gate. I don't care if they've just given birth. I don't care if they're 90 years old. Not very many people fall into the category where they're ready to strengthen right away. Most people instead are all the way up here. So they're really tense and tight. So when they go to close off their pelvic floor to squeeze around a partner, to stop the flow of urine, whatever, they can't because they're all the way up here and there's nowhere for them to go. And that's why 98% of the people I see, the ones who are in this category, first need to relax and lengthen and get that full range of motion before they can think about strengthening. If my muscles are tight all the way up here, believe it or not, they're functionally weak because the strength is not anything I can access as long as my muscles up here. So I absolutely recommend going straight to strength. If you've seen a pelvic floor physical therapist, they've done a pelvic exam on you and they've confirmed that tension is not your issue, very unlikely but possible, and that you're ready to strengthen right away. Most people instead, like I said, need to start with relaxation. And the tools I have in front of me are meant for that purpose. So these are all from Intimate Rose. I have a code, an affiliate with them. I recommend these to patients all the time. I'll put that code in the caption. And so you can see you can get $5 off for that. But these are tools that are specific to pain with sex or to pelvic pain and needing range of motion overall. So first, the general tool. If you've seen that massage tool for your shoulder, this is very similar. So either of these two ends can be inserted vaginally. I hold on to the other end and I use the end to massage myself internally. So I might look for areas that are tight and tender, or I might just kind of give myself some general stretch as I go. There's also a lot of breath work involved in this. So I have a bunch of videos about that breathing. They haven't been on my TikTok or on this YouTube channel, my professional YouTube channel just yet. I will add them. So take a look at those videos. The first and second in particular are meant to focus on that relaxation piece. So on this end also may be inserted rectally for folks who have rectal tension or increased rectal tension, obviously with plenty of lube. This is silicone on the outside, but the inside core, I believe, is metal. These can't be boiled, but they can be washed with soap and water, and that should be just fine. So, other tools here, these are dilators. They go all the way from pretty small, you can see, even smaller than my pointer finger, up to quite large, or the size of probably a larger than average penis, anyway. And you can see here's my hand. I would say I have an average sized woman's hand, and that's the size of that one. So, these tools really are meant to slowly get me used to penetration, to make me physically comfortable with that. Also to help with any kind of anxiety I might have with vaginal or rectal penetration. So I can use these one at a time, moving up in size as I get more and more comfortable until finally I've gotten to whatever size I want to be able to tolerate. And when I'm confident with that by myself, then I could start to incorporate toys of that size or a penis of that size with my partners. So, all tools for relaxation. When it comes to that Kegel piece again, PeriFit, if you're absolutely hell bent on starting with the strengthening, is my preferred brand or my preferred tool because it looked at both strength and relaxation. So the interactive game that PeriFit has, from what I've seen anyway, and what my patients have told me, allows you to squeeze, for example, in a game to go over an object if you're like that flying bird, or when you relax, you go under things. And so you can get that feedback on how much range of motion do I have? Am I able to both relax and lift? All the other tools that I've seen anyway on the market, so like the things that look kind of like Benoit balls or balls all attached with a string. There are some weights that go up in size. I actually thought I had those. Intimate Rose sells those too. Unfortunately, I don't today. Um, those are most appropriate, again, for people who we know have that full range of motion and probably are the kinds of people who leak urine, for example, and don't even know when it happened. So you're just walking across the floor and all of a sudden you leak, but you know that you have range of motion. With those types of tools, you usually insert them in the shower. You start there, you wash your body with it in, make sure you can hold it in. And if you can, then you would go to lifting up a leg, like drying your legs, maybe even walking to the bedroom and seeing if you could keep it in for that length of time. If you could, then it's appropriate to go to the next heaviest weight. So again, those are great tools for a certain subset of folks. Um, I rarely see people who are ready to do that out the gate. And I should say, whether you're considering a Kegel like strengthening program or these types of tools, really best to do it under the guidance of a licensed physical therapist in whatever state you live in. Um, because they're the ones who are really going to be able to, with a transvaginal or a transpelvic exam, be able to tell what the state of your pelvic floor is and what the most appropriate tool is going to be for you to start with. So again, desperate to strengthen, swear that that's your issue, and not, I'm willing to see a pelvic floor physical therapist, maybe start with the PeriFit. It's a little bit of money, but I think it does have the benefit of giving you maybe a little more accurate information than something that just has you squeezing for all hell. Because again, if I'm squeezing, and I'm already up here, I'm not doing myself any good. I'm not getting any stronger. And what's more, I'm really promoting kind of that tension that I already have. And that's not going to be very functional. I want range of motion first. So keep an eye out for some breathing videos that I'll post about techniques to relax your pelvic floor, to feel for that movement, to maybe give yourself a little more information about if you are able to relax fully. But otherwise, like I said, I would really recommend seeing a licensed pelvic floor physical therapist wherever you are, because they're the ones who are going to be able to confirm for you 100%. Any questions? Please feel free to write them in my comments. I'm happy to answer them. And good luck. If you have reviews, I would love to hear that too.